New York City, the Big Apple, the city that never sleeps, the five boroughs, whatever you call it, it's the home of the Yankees. Depending on who you are or where you're from, that can be a good thing or a bad thing. Before I say anything about the stadium, I have to acknowledge that just like the majority of baseball fans, I don't like the Yankees. I do acknowledge, though, that there has been a lot of important baseball history at Yankee Stadium. Boasting more championships than not just any team in baseball, but any team in professional sports. There have been so many incredible moments in pinstripes. Whether it's Gehrig's speech, Mr. October, or Mariano Rivera's final game, you would think that the house that Ruth built would be a true temple to the baseball gods. If we were talking about old Yankee Stadium, I would say it completely is. But I can't say the same about new Yankee Stadium. Sure, it has Monument Park and a Yankee Museum, which are both nice, but new Yankee Stadium feels like the Disney World attraction version of the Yankees experience. Just like Disney World, it's no longer for the average person either. Yankee Stadium went from being for the person who wanted to grow up to be Babe Ruth, to being for the person who wants to grow up to be George Steinbrenner. The Yankees have been the evil empire for so long, a lot of people don't remember they were once the underdogs, not just in baseball, but even in New York City. The early Yankees played second fiddle to the Giants and shared not just the spotlight, but their stadium too. It wasn't until the Yankees acquired one George Herman Ruth from the Red Sox that the Yankees started winning. The massive ticket sales that Ruth drew allowed the Yankees to afford their own stadium. Original Yankee Stadium was truly for baseball fans, the underdog, the working class, everything the American dream was supposed to be. New Yankee Stadium is everything the American dream has become, not much more than a monument to capitalism. A stadium that dares call itself Yankee Stadium should be so much more. Speaking of things that are rich in history and flavor and haven't changed much in over a century, of course, it's the pastrami sandwich. Based on Jewish tradition, you can find this cured and smoked sandwich at famous places like Katz or at so many other corner delis throughout New York City. Since I and the majority of other people don't own a smoker, I'm going to see if I can recreate this at home without any special equipment. Pastrami is made out of cured brisket. Curing is a traditional preservation process which, by letting the meat sit in a salty brine, it removes moisture from the meat, leaving it less likely to develop bacteria. To do this, the most important ingredient we need is pink curing salt, or sometimes called Prague Mix No. 1. Get yourself a 3-pound brisket and start by trimming off some of the excess fat while still leaving a good fat cap on it. To make our brine, pour 12 cups of water into a large pot. If you have a stock pot, use it. It'll make the process easier. Add in 1 cup of kosher salt, 1/4 cup of pink curing salt, 1 cup granulated sugar, half a cup of brown sugar, 1/4 cup of honey, 1 tablespoon coriander seeds, 1 tablespoon black peppercorns, 1 tablespoon mustard seeds, a couple of broken dried chilies, a few broken cinnamon sticks, and 4 smashed cloves of garlic. Bring that all to a boil, mixing it together as it comes up to temperature, and then immediately remove it from the heat. Divide the brine in half between 2 pots of food-safe containers, and then pour over 6 cups of ice-cold water into each pot. If you're doing this in a stock pot, just add 12 cups of water to that same pot. Once the brine is completely cool, put your brisket in and store it in the fridge uncovered for at least 3 days and up to a week. Check on your brisket once a day to flip it over, which will make sure it cures evenly. Next, let's make ourselves some mustard. Grab half a cup of whole yellow mustard seeds and grind that to a powder in a mortar and pestle. You can also just use mustard powder. Add 1/4 cup of ground brown mustard seeds. Whisk these together with 2 teaspoons of salt and pour in 1 cup of cold apple cider vinegar. If you like your mustard milder, use warmer vinegar. Fold that all together until it's a homogeneous mixture, and then cover and leave out overnight at room temperature before moving it into the refrigerator. Once you've waited a week, remove the brisket from the brine and thoroughly pat it dry and let it come up to room temperature. Grab a large roasting pan and pour 4 cups of water into the bottom. Place the brisket onto a rack inside the pan with the fatty side down. In a mixing bowl, combine 1/4 cup of ground coriander, 2 tablespoons of black pepper, 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika, 1 tablespoon garlic powder, and 1 teaspoon mustard powder. Thoroughly rub your brisket on all sides with this spice mixture. Cover the roasting pan with 2 layers of aluminum foil and place it in the oven for 3 to 4 hours at 300 degrees until it reaches an internal temperature of 200 degrees. Take it out of the oven and let it rest before slicing it up as thin as possible. Grab 2 slices of rye bread and cover one side with your mustard. Pile on an amount of pastrami so generous it looks like a Yankees free agent contract. Add in a kosher dill pickle on the side, which you can learn how to make in my Chicago Cubs video. Pick up that Aaron Judge sized sandwich, take a bite, and enjoy the game. Just maybe cheer for the other team.